It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
Welcome, baseball fans, to another episode of JUCO Jam. I'm your host, Tad Slowick. And I'm here again with Lou Temple to discuss all the junior college baseball that went on this week of February 12th. So we're looking to get around the country. And again, love to have you here, Lou. Welcome.
Thanks, Tad. Trusty sidekick. Woo! Fishing's fine. Here we are. I'm down in Santa Monica right now, which is beautiful. A balmy 7 degrees. We've got the ocean air. I can smell it. There's some sun shining. Kind of a lot like where you are, right, Tad?
I don't think so, but we actually haven't had poor weather lately. We're actually hasn't snowed in a while, and it's been up in the 30s and 40s. So I guess if you count 30 and 40, it adds up to 70. So
there you go. Well, that's good baseball weather. Good Midwest spring baseball weather. And look, dude, spring is sprung. I know that's hard to convince you of that, but you have been to Florida, so you know. And spring
right?
just says baseball season. I mean, don't you get that feeling this time of year?
Yeah, especially now that the Super Bowl's over. We're really going to kick baseball in here pretty hard. Pitchers and catchers are getting out there soon, and we got the Division I baseball coming up here, NCAA baseball, and high schools will be going. And I love it that JUCO gets to kick things off every year. So
yeah, JUCO is king. That's the king, King JUCO. Hey, just real quick, talking about the Super Bowl. You and I had a little chat about it, but you're an evaluator. You look for athleticism. Man, when you watch these two teams line up with the type of athletes that we're talking about, you can't help but be wowed by some of the performances, right? I mean, just
yeah. Well, I mean, basically, you had the two best teams. Both on paper and the regular season and everything. I mean, these were the two best teams, and this was truly a Super Bowl. I mean, it's so many good athletes and playmakers. I mean, that's what you enjoy. It's good to see talent, but it's great to see when that talent comes out and the creativity and the plays that they can make to get things done and win a championship. What a game, though.
I love that word playmakers because you're speaking about the intangibles. You're speaking about experience. You're speaking about
Rise
imagination.
to the top, get to the big leagues. Not only do they have talent, but they could get it done between the white lines. And, that's what a lot of these junior college players are searching for. They're searching for that consistency where they can get it done on a daily basis in between the white lines.
Well, that's what I like about what you do because you show up at a game. You're not picking one team or the other. You don't have a huge expectation. You know, obviously, where teams are ranked and where you've got them. And then something happens to change the whole perception and the whole dynamic of at least, the game, your rankings, the league conference. And it's just the great unknown. To me, that's why it's called fishing. It's not called catching. That's what telling a story is. And on the field, you get to see stories unfold all the time. So that being said, fill us in on what happens right at the top with the team out west. Sorry, but I'm out here in this beautiful sunshine. I have to ask you right away about Central Arizona.
Well, Central Arizona, they're getting into conference play out there in Arizona now, and it's going to be a dog eat dog world. And, you got to, like we just talked about, you got to bring it every day to succeed. And Central Arizona, they got two big wins over Pima. Pima's been playing good. The pitching they have is outstanding. And, Central Arizona held serve here the first series. led by Tyrese Johnson. I know you like Tyrese Johnson
I
there,
do.
Lou. Yeah, what an athlete, great athlete. He's really swinging the bat good. You know, he went 5 for 7 on the weekend. And then the big boy behind the plate. I know that it gets to your heart when we talk about the catchers. Big Lou Albrecht added a home run. But now we get to talk to my side of the story, and that's the pitching. And they had two outstanding performances. First by Matt Wilkinson, you know, with 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, a run, 9 Ks, 1 walk. And Patrick Stites, not to be outdone in the second game, had 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, a run, 10 Ks, and a walk. And you know, that's what we're seeing here with these outstanding junior college pitchers is we're seeing the high strikeout, very low walk ratio. So it's great to see these kids come out and, like we just talked about, get it done.
So, Tad,
You
for
know,
you, really quick, when they go out and take on innings like this, they're tuned up for that. They're not.
oh, they're ready to go. You
That's
know,
so
I mean,
great.
the old Larry Durker. I mean, Larry, when he was managing the Astros, I mean, he left those guys out there 8, 9 innings almost all the time. You know, if they're still going, they're still throwing. You know, and that's all it is. You know, everybody has these numbers they like to throw around, and you know, all it is really just good common sense by the coach. You know, if the guy's starts the game at 95 and he's still throwing 93 in the eighth, ninth inning, I mean, nothing wrong. I mean, the kid's still strong and feeling good. You know, now there's a big drop or you see some laboring or some command issues, then hey, you know, then maybe you got to think about getting them out of the game. But you know, these kids train so hard now to play this game, and they're prepared. They're prepared to go the distance. These pitchers are, and
I like that. You know what I say? You're still throwing, you're still growing. Let's go.
that's right, and you know, it's like sometimes you know I think they baby some of these pitchers, and you know these guys are capable of going and competing the whole time, and you know that's what I like to see. You know, I like to see guys finishing pretty much their own games. Yeah, hey, maybe you got to have some guy come in and pitch the last inning because maybe your pitch counts up or something, but you know, hey, if you're still throwing good, keep it going and finish your own job.
It seems like this weekend, Tad, that we saw a lot of very good teams go head to head and kind of even out with splits, uh, like the Crowder Johnson
Yeah,
City.
Crowder and Johnson County. I mean, they. There's two ranked teams battling out early. You know, Crowder comes out and you know takes the first couple games. I mean, they got a great pitching performance from you know Joe Hackman in the first game. He threw 5 shutout innings in relief for Crowder there, and he had 10 punch outs in the 5 innings, and you know just kept them in the game and got them off to a good start. And then, you know, hey, you know, Johnson County could go between with their tail between their legs and back down, or they fought. They fought in game 2 and really came out swinging the bats with Ryan Callahan and, you know, Braden Lukart, you know, leading away with a couple hits each. And, you know, just came back strong. So it's good to see these teams bounce back, you know, especially when they're playing, like you talked about, head to head with these other top ranked programs.
Big series down south in Texas and at San Jacinto. Tell us what went on there.
Yeah, well, San Jack, you know, got bouncing back, and you know, and I know they will. I mean, their region, you know, they're going to do real well in their region. You know, they hosted some real good teams down there: Wabash Valley, Ranger, Seminole State, Galveston was over there. You know, just Navarro was there. So I mean, they had some good quality teams in that tournament, and you know, San Jacinto won a couple of games and really looked strong, beating Wabash Valley, and you know, just looking the way that they're capable of playing. And you know, I think hopefully this is the kickoff to their big run here in their region.
Interestingly, to me, you talked a little bit about keep your eyes open at South Nevada, South Mountain, and that ended up being a good series, right?
Yeah, I mean, Southern Nevada and South Mountain, again, you got the ninth ranked team, South Mountain, and 13th ranked team, Southern Nevada, going at it in Vegas. And it turned out to be a great series. Southern Nevada came out real strong the first day and took 2 games from South Mountain. Hunter Katchke really keeps swinging that bat good, and they got a really good performance out of the pen by Lucas Boson. Pitched an inning in third and had 4 Ks, so he
Nice.
basically got all his outs by strikeouts and closed the game down to get them off to a good start. And then, a good team, what does a good team do? They bounce back. South Mountain bounced back and took 2 games from Southern Nevada, behind, Connor Schneider swung the bat real good for South Mountain. And, now South Mountain has to head down and play conference play. Now they're in Arizona, and they're going to be tested day in and day out. So we're going to see what they're really made of coming up here. But that was a hell of a series between those 2 good teams.
Yeah, some other pitching performances that you were happy to see about in Division I this weekend, Tad?
Yeah, McLennan continues to really have good pitching performance. They improved their record to 8-2. They're just so stingy with their runs. Leave up maybe 1-2 runs a game at most. And if you're getting 3 on them, you're having a good day. It's they've been really pitching real well down there. And they got a big weekend series coming up against Cowley, and I think they play Iowa Western too. So they're going to have some a good test this weekend. Also, Jefferson County is a team that is really coming on here, and we saw early in the fall that they had the good quality pitching. They had a lot of left-handed quality starters, and it's showing so far. They won their first 6 straight games, and 3 of the games were by shutout. So they're shutting people down. They had a really good performance by left-hander Jacob Retchen, who pitched 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 10 Ks, 2 walks. And then, they had a good relief performance from Cannon Carr, who threw 3 innings and struck out 7. So, they're showing that they can pitch and hold people at bay, and look for them to make some more noise this spring.
Great. Well, Tad, before we move on to Division II, is there anyone else in Division I you want to speak to?
Yeah, Flodar got on a roll and is continuing to playing well. They beat Northwest Florida and Miami-Dade. They're getting some real good offense
Dang, that's
those are 2 good
incredible.
wins. Those are
Yeah,
2 good wins right there. Well, they're getting some offense from TJ Anderson, Javier Crespo, and Anderson Folk are really swinging the bat. And they got a huge series coming up this weekend against their rivals, Hartford. It's usually been them and Hartford in the sectionals to see who goes to Grand Junction. And last year, Hartford got the best of them. I wouldn't say the best of them. That series went back and forth and was tight, and ended up winning late in the game on an exciting game. So it was a pretty even series, but that's Harper's first games out this year, and I'm sure Flo Dar will be ready for him, and that's going to be one heck of a series to see those 2 teams battle it out. So I'm excited to see what's going on there. Also, we got a few newbies in the mix this week with Southwest Tennessee playing real good. They're 9-2 right now. They've beaten ranked teams like Pensacola and just who we talked about, Jefferson County. And also coming in at number 37 this week, we got Central Alabama with big wins over Chipola and Wallace Stoughton. So,
wow.
look for those teams hopefully to climb the ladder and get things going here soon. One other team I'd like to mention who's really playing good baseball is that Gaston team out on North Carolina there. They got 5 wins in a row, including they beat Walter State. They given Walter State their only loss of the year, and they're averaging about 11 runs a game. They're really swinging the bats good. They got Wade Kelly, Preston Hall, Enrique Wood really swinging the bat real well. So Gaston is a team big time on the rise here also. Georgia Highlands has a big series against Wabash Valley this week, and so we'll see when those 2 teams go head-to-head. So, like we had talked about constantly, is these teams, these quality teams. I mean, a lot of head-to-head battles, and that's what we're seeing too here with some of these teams at Division One who don't have very good records. They're quality programs, perennial powers who are struggling a little bit, because obviously they're playing quality teams. So hopefully they could find themselves a little bit and right the ship a little bit.
Let's jump into Division Two real quick, because speaking of powerhouse teams, Pearl River is sitting right there at number one still for you.
Yeah, I mean they're flexing their muscles early on here, and really just showing why they're number one, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They got 6 straight wins, outscoring their opponents 59-18 early on here. Alex Perry, big number one player going to Tennessee there. Gabe Broadus, Logan Walters, Preston Soper. I mean, you can name guys in that lineup all day who could really swing it and get it done. And, really coming out of the gate strong, just like you'd expect them to.
That's good to know. Good to see. Who else then in Division Two there?
Yeah, well, then you got their arch rivals across the net right next door in Louisiana, LSU Eunice. They gotten off to a monster start too. I mean, they're 11-0. They scored 132 runs, 12 runs a game, and they're swinging the bats real good too. They got a great series coming up this weekend. LSU Eunice does. They have Kellogg coming down from Michigan, and Kellogg's a top ranked team at the Division II level every year. They're back and forth in and out of the World Series, so they got a quality program and should bring a good team down there, and they'll be tested. Definitely, it'll be a good matchup this weekend. I mean, LSU obviously has games under their belt, but Kellogg, they're a program that's not scared. They don't back down to anybody, and that'll be an interesting series. Also, one other team I want to mention now, Division Two, is St. John's. St. John's River. I mean, out of Florida. They went from D1 to this is their first year at D2, and they got off to a great 10-3 start, but they're still playing the D1 clubs, and they had a big win over Northwest Florida and Miami-Dade. So
wow,
they're really getting some big offense from Caleb Freeman, and then Connor McBride on the mound for them has been really outstanding. I mean, he's 3-0 so far and really throwing the ball well. So they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, obviously, at the Division II level, and you got 3 just top level type teams here that are going to be fun to watch as the spring goes on. And then you're going to see these other teams get going too. The teams from the north are right now are going to get their first games under the belt. You got Heartland, you got Lansing up there, Lincoln Land,
for sure.
you got Kirkwood. I mean, you got so many good teams up there who are just getting started too. So, like we talked about after Super Bowl here, now baseball's going to be in full swing, and JUCO will be in full swing here pretty soon. And, D3 will get going here. So we're going to have a lot to talk about over the next several months. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Tad, is there any players that you are surprised that who is this guy getting off to a great start?
Well, I mean, the one guy I kind of did, it's just because I wasn't as familiar with the name. Keaton Ray from Walter State has been really swinging the bat good for them. He's got a couple home runs, got a lot of RBIs, hitting like 6 something. He's been ridiculously off to a hot start. So,
Good.
I
Always good to
think,
get off to a good start. Takes a
yeah, I
lot of
mean,
pressure off. It keeps you in the
yeah,
lineup, basically.
right, right, and it helps you finish strong too. So it's having instead of having a battle way back, from an 0 for 10 start, and try to get it going. Even though guys do it all the time, but I mean, it's just like I said, from a mental standpoint, I just think it's easier when things are going well, especially early on. But then, like we talked about earlier in the episode, you just got to keep it going day in and day out. There's no breaks, there's no easy games, there's no letdown, and that's the beauty of baseball. It's that you got to bring your game every day, or even a team you think that isn't very good could knock you off and stuff. So, and
Well,
that's what the
that's
good.
what you do, Tad Slowick. You bring it every day because you've got a lot to keep track of, a lot to be on top of. You've got players' evaluations, you've got team rankings, and provisional services to both the players and the coaches, not just in junior college, but there's a lot of four-year coaches that are interested in what your thoughts are about players. So it just keeps you busy, man, doesn't it?
Right, definitely does, and I love it. I mean, I can't get away from, most people are on their phone texting or looking for social activities. I sit there and constantly scour box scores and, just looking to see who's playing well, who's not playing well, who needs to get going. It just it's exciting to see all these young players developing, and that's what we'll see throughout this whole year is watch them develop into good quality baseball players. So
I, for one, am happy that you're on board. I'm pleased as punch to be your sidekick and along for the ride. I'm getting educated on JUCO baseball, its talent, its programs more every day.
we got
It's a
we
lot of
got some
fun.
great matchups to talk about next week too. So
All
there's
right.
never going to be a dull moment on this show. And
On the JUCO Jam, I'm jamming. You jamming?
yeah, I'm jamming, buddy, and I love
Woo!
jamming with you,
The
man. We're
fishing's
having fun.
fine. The fishing's fine. Throw me a line.
That's right. That's right. So what do you got coming up for yourself?
Well, I'm working on trying to build this movie. You and I stay up on that. I want to build a project that I have written and I'll ultimately direct. And so the pieces are slow to come together, but they are coming together. I'm excited about getting some positive news this week. I shot a commercial that did not air during the Super Bowl, and I'm okay with that because what happens if they air in the Super Bowl? They're kind of a one and done. And I like to do a commercial that has some legs and runs a little bit because that turns the wheel, which means I'm earning more money. So this commercial will be for the Army. They're going back to their slogan, "Be all you can be,"
All
and
right.
hopefully I helped with that in this spot, and it's pretty epic. And I'm told that it will be run its maiden voyage during the NCAA women's tournament, and I
Oh
believe
wow,
I
during
believe
those,
that's
that's
in
exciting.
the middle to the end of March.
Yep, yep. It'll be exciting.
So that
And
keeps me busy, and then I'm always auditioning.
right,
We used to call that trying out. Those were tryouts
try out.
back in
Right.
Little League. And
Yeah.
so I remember when I first started acting, I did call them. Oh, I got a tryout tomorrow. and but they're actually called auditions. And to make you feel better when you're like an old guy like me, they call them appointments. You have an appointment tomorrow, as if that makes it more special. But what
Right.
special is being here on the JUCO Jam. Thanks for having me, Tad.
Hey, no problem, Lou. And you can get all the information on JUCO baseball, everything you want to know at dreambigathletics.com. And before we sign off here, we're going to just say that, at these players, we're going to take a slice out of what the Army says. And we're hoping to see all these players be all they can be for the rest of the season. Lou, thanks for joining us. Join us again on another episode of JUCO Jam, where we talk about everything with junior college baseball and maybe a little acting and maybe a little life and a little Super Bowl. So anyway, you can hear anything on here at the JUCO Jam. Thanks for jamming with us today. I'm your host, Tad Slowick. Have a great day.
You've been listening to JUCO Jam. For all your junior college needs, go to dreambigathletics.com and make sure to tune in to next week's episode of JUCO Jam.